The quantum resonance array hummed with an unusual frequency, sending ripples of static electricity across the research deck of the Interstellar survey ship. Chief researcher Zara Voss leaned forward, her multifaceted eyes narrowing as she studied the holographic display. Something was different. Something was wrong. For generations, the Astral Harmony Collective had mapped the most treacherous regions of known space. They'd prided themselves on their comprehensive understanding of stellar environments, on their ability to navigate the most challenging cosmic landscapes. Yet here, in the heart of the Obsidian Corridor, something defied every established protocol of survival. The initial sensor ping had been subtle, a mere whisper of electromagnetic signature that most researchers would have dismissed as cosmic interference. But Zara was not most researchers. Her reputation for meticulous observation had earned her numerous commendations from the collective's scientific council. "Enhance Quadrant 7 Gamma," she commanded, her voice calm but laced with an undercurrent of excitement. The holographic display shifted, molecular representations of space dancing and reconfiguring. What emerged was nothing short of impossible. A vessel, small and seemingly fragile, was moving through an asteroid field that should have reduced any known spacecraft to microscopic debris. The asteroids here were not mere space rocks. They were volatile fragments of a destroyed planetary system, charged with electromagnetic energy that could strip the hull protection from most advanced exploration vessels. Razor-sharp crystalline structures tumbled through the void, each capable of puncturing meters of reinforced hull plating in milliseconds. Yet this mysterious craft navigated the field with a grace that defied comprehension. Zara's research assistant, a young data analyst named Krell, leaned in. "Scanning parameters are inconsistent. The vessel's structural integrity should be compromised multiple times over." She raised a hand, silencing his observation. Her focus was complete, her mind processing the impossible visual data before her. The spacecraft was not just surviving. It was moving with an intentionality that suggested not just survival, but mastery of an environment that should be fundamentally fatal. Communication protocols engaged automatically. Standard linguistic algorithms began translating, searching for any recognizable communication pattern. What emerged was both familiar and utterly alien. Negative on structural damage. Asteroid field traversal at 63% efficiency. Minimal course correction required. The voice was human, unmistakably human, but the tone suggested a level of calm that bordered on the absurd. Who spoke about navigating a death zone with such casual indifference? Historical records of humanity were limited. Distant rumors spoke of a species from a singular planetary system, known for unexpected resilience. But those were academic whispers, folklore among xenobiological researchers. No comprehensive data existed about their true capabilities. Zara's fingers danced across the holographic interface, initiating more comprehensive scans. Detailed molecular analysis began revealing layers of complexity that challenged everything the collective understood about spacecraft design and biological adaptation. The vessel's hull composition was a mystery. Traditional scanning techniques revealed multiple adaptive layers that seemed to dynamically respond to external stress. Electromagnetic shielding fluctuated in patterns that suggested active, intelligent response rather than passive protection. "Krell, verify scan parameters," she muttered, knowing full well the scans were accurate. The young analyst's nervous recalibration confirmed what Zara already suspected. This was no ordinary encounter. This was something fundamentally different. A secondary communication burst emerged. Coordinates, navigation data, an invitation, almost casual in its presentation, that seemed to say, "We know you're watching. We're not concerned." The asteroid field continued its violent dance. Massive crystalline fragments larger than entire research stations tumbled and collided. In the midst of this cosmic chaos, the small human vessel moved with a fluidity that suggested not just survival, but a complete mastery of an environment that should be utterly fatal. Zara Voss felt something she had not experienced in decades of deep space research. Genuine, unfiltered curiosity. This was more than a discovery. This was the beginning of something unprecedented. The quantum resonance array continued its soft humming, a subtle soundtrack to a moment that would forever change our understanding of intelligence, survival, and the fundamental nature of adaptation. The communication chamber of the Astral Harmony research vessel hummed with a tension that defied the usual clinical precision of scientific encounters. Chief researcher Zara Voss stood perfectly still, her neural interfaces processing every minute detail of the incoming transmission. Captain Elena Rodriguez appeared on the holographic display, her image crisp and unnervingly stable despite the complex quantum communication protocols. She wore what seemed to be standard operational gear, a form-fitting uniform that looked more like casual attire than the elaborate protective suits used by most known spacefaring species. "Greetings, Astral Harmony Collective," she said, a slight smile playing at the corner of her mouth. "I hope we're not intruding on your research space." The diplomatic team exchanged nearly imperceptible glances. The casualness was unprecedented. Most first contact scenarios involved elaborate communication protocols, careful linguistic negotiations, and multiple layers of diplomatic filtering. This felt more like an unexpected visit from a neighbor than a first encounter between potentially alien civilizations. Zara's lead linguistic analyst, a meticulously trained specialist named Vornak, began running rapid translation and contextual analysis. His neural implants worked overtime, searching for potential communication nuances, hidden meanings, diplomatic subtexts. "We've been conducting a routine survey of the Obsidian Corridor," Captain Rodriguez continued. "Noticed you were tracking our approach. Thought we'd save you the trouble of formal first contact procedures." Vornak's translation matrix struggled. The words were simple, but the underlying communication style defied standard diplomatic parsing. It was simultaneously direct and casual, professional, and oddly intimate. "Your vessel's navigation through the asteroid field was remarkable," Zara responded, choosing her words with calculated precision. "Our initial scan suggests technological capabilities that challenge our current understanding of space traversal." Captain Rodriguez laughed, not a diplomatic chuckle or a calculated response, but a genuine, spontaneous burst of amusement that momentarily disrupted every communication protocol the collective had established over centuries of galactic exploration. "Remarkable," she repeated. "We call that a standard Tuesday morning survey run. You should see what we do on more challenging days." The diplomatic team found themselves in uncharted territory. This was not the measured, careful communication they had been trained to expect. The human representative spoke as though navigating a deadly asteroid field was equivalent to a morning commute. A secondary communication channel began displaying additional data: preliminary mission logs, navigation records, environmental adaptation reports. The level of detail was staggering, but presented with such nonchalance that it seemed almost like an afterthought. Vornak's neural interfaces began to overheat from the complexity of translation. The communication wasn't just a language exchange. It was a complete paradigm shift in understanding interaction, risk, and technological capability. "We'd be interested in discussing your navigation methodologies," Zara said, trying to maintain the collective's standard diplomatic approach. "Sure," Captain Rodriguez replied, "though I'm not sure how technical we can get. For us, it's mostly about paying attention and not panicking. Pretty basic stuff, really." The casual dismissal of what was clearly an extraordinarily complex navigational achievement was perhaps the most fascinating element of the entire exchange. Supplementary data streams began populating the research displays. Detailed medical scans, technological specifications, environmental adaptation reports. Each piece of information challenged existing understanding of biological and technological limits. The human vessel's whole composition seemed to actively adapt to environmental challenges. Medical records suggested the crew experienced minimal stress in conditions that would have been fatal to most known species. Navigation logs showed a level of intuitive problem-solving that bordered on the impossible. "We're happy to share more details," Captain Rodriguez said. though I suspect our standard operating procedures might seem a bit unconventional to you. Zara Voss realized they were experiencing more than a first contact scenario. This was a fundamental collision of understanding, a moment where everything the Astral Harmony Collective thought they knew about intelligent life was about to be rewritten. The communication channel remained open, a quantum bridge between two completely different perspectives on survival, exploration, and the very nature of intelligent adaptation. Something extraordinary was beginning. The joint scientific expedition was supposed to be a carefully orchestrated demonstration of cooperative exploration. Instead, it was quickly becoming a comprehensive deconstruction of everything the Astral Harmony Collective understood about biological limits. Dr. Zara Voss watched in growing disbelief as the human team prepared for their first planetary survey. The target was Krylov 9, a research world notorious for its extreme conditions. Sulfuric acid rain constantly etched the rocky surface. Atmospheric pressure fluctuated wildly, capable of crushing most known protective suits. Electromagnetic storms created localized zones of total technological failure. It was a world designed to destroy. The human team, led by Dr. Marcus Chen, approached the planetary preparation with an almost unsettling calm. Where the collective's researchers meticulously checked and rechecked layers of protective equipment, the humans seemed to be preparing for a casual outdoor excursion. Standard environmental suit, Dr. Chen said, holding up what appeared to be a surprisingly thin layer of adaptive material. We found that over-engineering protection often creates more problems than it solves. Senior researcher Vornak's neural interfaces were working overtime, trying to process the seemingly impossible approach. Your protective gear does not comply with any known interstellar safety protocols, he stated, his voice a mixture of scientific curiosity and barely contained anxiety. Dr. Chen simply smiled. Protocols are great for average conditions. We're not particularly interested in average. The initial descent challenged every scientific expectation. The human shuttle moved through the planet's volatile atmosphere with a fluidity that defied conventional understanding. Electromagnetic interference that should have completely disabled navigation systems became nothing more than a minor course correction. As the landing site approached, the true extent of human adaptation began to reveal itself. The first team members stepped onto the planetary surface. Krylov 9's environment was a nightmare of geological instability. Razor-sharp crystalline formations jutted from acidic ground. Atmospheric pressure fluctuated between crushing and near-vacuum conditions. Radiation levels would have been fatal to most known species within minutes. The humans moved as though walking through a mild park. Zara's research instruments tracked their every move. Biological readings defied comprehension. Where protective suits should have been essential, the humans demonstrated remarkable resilience. Skin exposure to conditions that should have caused immediate cellular destruction resulted in nothing more than minor environmental stress. Interesting geological formation, Dr. Chen commented, casually collecting samples from an area that was actively dissolving most known collection tools. We've seen similar structures on some of our less hospitable research worlds. The casual nature of the statement was perhaps more shocking than the physical feat itself. Vornak's analysis revealed layers of biological complexity that challenged fundamental understanding of adaptive capabilities. The humans seemed to possess a cellular resilience that went beyond traditional evolutionary adaptation. Their biological systems appeared to actively respond to environmental challenges in real time, creating temporary protective mechanisms that bordered on the impossible. One of the junior human researchers, Dr. Elena Rodriguez, noticed a particularly volatile geological formation, where the collective's researchers would have initiated extensive scanning and remote analysis. She simply walked closer, collecting samples with a handheld device. The key to understanding is getting close enough to observe, she explained, noticing the collective tension of the Astral Harmony research team. Distance creates limitations. As hours passed, the humans continued their survey with an almost meditative focus. Conditions that should have been fatal became nothing more than minor environmental variables. They collected samples, conducted detailed geological analysis, and maintained constant communication, all while existing in an environment that should have destroyed them within moments. Zara Voss realized they were witnessing something far more profound than a simple scientific expedition. This was a demonstration of a fundamentally different approach to survival, to exploration, to the very concept of biological limitation. The Krylov 9 expedition was changing everything. By the time the team prepared for return, the Astral Harmony Collective had collected more questions than answers. Each moment of observation revealed another layer of human capability that defied existing scientific understanding. Something extraordinary was emerging, a species that did not just survive challenging environments, but seemed to integrate with them on a level that challenged the very definition of biological adaptation. The research archives of the Astral Harmony Collective had never looked so inadequate. Spread across the primary analysis chamber, thousands of holographic displays presented a comprehensive breakdown of human capabilities that defied every established scientific paradigm. Dr. Zara Voss stood at the center of a swirling data constellation, her neural interfaces processing information at unprecedented speeds. The Krylov 9 expedition data had triggered a complete re-evaluation of what intelligent life could be. Dr. Marcus Chen sat across from her, looking almost amused by the collective's growing bewilderment. Most species spend generations trying to overcome their environmental limitations, he observed. We just consider them a daily challenge. The breakthrough came not from a single dramatic moment, but from a complex tapestry of seemingly impossible capabilities. Medical scans revealed cellular structures that could rapidly adapt to extreme conditions. Technological analyses showed engineering solutions that prioritized flexibility over rigid protection. Vornak, the senior linguistic analyst, had been compiling a comprehensive report on human communication patterns. What emerged was not just a language, but an entire philosophical approach to survival that challenged fundamental understanding. Their linguistic patterns suggest an inherent comfort with uncertainty, Vornak explained. Where most species develop complex communication to minimize risk, humans seem to use language as a tool for embracing and navigating unpredictability. The planetary survey data from Krylov 9 continued to yield stunning revelations. Humans had not just survived the planet's extreme conditions, they had collected comprehensive scientific data while doing so. Areas that would have required months of remote scanning were explored and documented in hours. Dr. Elena Rodriguez presented a preliminary report that left the research team stunned. We noticed some interesting geological formations that might indicate previous environmental transformations, she said, as casually as one might discuss a pleasant walk. What she presented was nothing short of revolutionary. Geological evidence suggested humans came from a planet that had undergone multiple extinction-level events. Not just survived them, but evolved through them. The collective's most advanced predictive models began to paint a new picture. Humanity was not just a species that survived. They were a species that transformed challenges into opportunities. Your planet must have been incredibly harsh, Zara commented, studying the comprehensive planetary history data. Dr. Chen chuckled. Harsh is a mild word. Earth was less a planet and more a continuous survival challenge. Detailed analysis revealed a biological and cultural evolution that defied conventional understanding. Humans had developed not just technological solutions, but entire social structures built around adaptation and collective problem-solving. Their medical technology showed an approach that was equally revolutionary. Where most species developed intricate protective systems, humans created adaptive technologies that worked with biological limitations rather than against them. A comprehensive review of human exploration history revealed a pattern that both terrified and fascinated the research team. Every significant challenge had been met not with fear, but with an almost enthusiastic determination to understand and overcome. We don't see obstacles, Dr. Rodriguez explained during one analysis session. We see interesting problems waiting to be solved. The turning point became clear. This was not just about a single species' capabilities. This was about a fundamentally different approach to existence itself. Vornak's linguistic analyses revealed deeper layers. Human communication was not just about information exchange, but about creating shared understanding through creative problem-solving. Their language contained nuanced layers of collaborative thinking that most species would consider impossibly complex. As the research progressed, the Astral Harmony Collective found themselves confronting a profound philosophical question. What defined intelligence? Was it the ability to predict and avoid challenges, or the capacity to transform those challenges into opportunities? Humans seem to have answered that question generations ago. Dr. Zara Voss realized they were witnessing more than a scientific discovery. They were observing the potential redefinition of what intelligent life could be. The data continued to accumulate. Each new piece of information added another layer to an increasingly complex understanding of a species that did not just survive, but fundamentally reimagined survival itself. Something extraordinary was emerging. A completely new perspective on adaptation, intelligence, and the very nature of existence was taking shape. The quantum storm materialized without warning, a cascading nightmare of energy that threatened to consume entire star systems. Most advanced civilizations had specific protocols for such cosmic events: retreat, shield, and hope for survival. The Astral Harmony Collective's primary defense fleet looked woefully inadequate against the approaching catastrophe. Massive energy tendrils twisted through space, consuming everything in their path. Entire planetary systems had already been erased from existing star charts. Dr. Zara Voss watched from the research vessel's primary observation deck. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood beside her, studying the incoming data with an unsettling calm that seemed completely at odds with the impending destruction. "That's going to be problematic," Rodriguez commented, as though discussing a minor traffic inconvenience. Vornak's predictive models were in complete chaos. The quantum storm defied every known method of intervention. Its energy patterns shifted faster than any known computational system could analyze, consuming matter and energy with terrifying efficiency. The collective's leading strategists had already concluded that survival was impossible. Evacuation protocols were being implemented across multiple star systems. Entire civilizations were preparing to become cosmic refugees. "We have a potential solution," Captain Rodriguez said, pulling up a holographic display that looked more like an abstract artistic rendering than a serious intervention strategy. The human team's proposal seemed, at first glance, completely impossible. It challenged every fundamental understanding of quantum mechanics, energy manipulation, and cosmic intervention. Dr. Marcus Chen began explaining the intervention strategy. What emerged was not just a scientific solution, but a complete reimagining of how to interact with cosmic phenomena. Most species try to protect themselves from environmental challenges, Chen explained. We prefer to find a way to work with them. The strategy involved creating a complex series of quantum resonance fields that would not block the storm, but actually redirect and dissipate its energy. It was less about fighting the cosmic phenomenon and more about understanding its fundamental nature. The Astral Harmony Collective's lead scientists initially dismissed the proposal as pure fantasy. The computational requirements alone seemed impossible. The energy manipulation techniques suggested were so far beyond current understanding that they bordered on the mystical. But Captain Rodriguez and her team were already preparing implementation. What followed was a demonstration of problem-solving that would be remembered for generations. The human team worked with a combination of advanced technology and what could only be described as intuitive understanding. They didn't just analyze the quantum storm. They seemed to communicate with it, understanding its underlying energy patterns in a way that transcended traditional scientific observation. Computational systems that should have been overwhelmed worked with surprising efficiency. Complex calculations that would have taken traditional systems centuries were completed in moments. Vornak's monitoring systems captured something truly extraordinary. The humans were not just responding to the quantum storm. They were engaging with it, understanding its fundamental nature in real time. Energy redirection began. Where most species would have attempted to block or deflect, the humans found a way to transform the storm's energy. Massive quantum tendrils that should have consumed entire star systems began to dissipate, their energy transformed into something less destructive. Dr. Zora Voss watched in absolute amazement. This was more than a scientific intervention. This was a complete reimagining of how intelligent life could interact with cosmic phenomena. The intervention lasted less than 7 standard time units. By the time it was complete, the quantum storm had been completely neutralized. Star systems that should have been erased remained intact. Entire civilizations that were preparing for total evacuation found themselves unexpectedly saved. "Just another Tuesday," Captain Rodriguez said, with a casualness that defied the magnitude of what had just occurred. The Astral Harmony Collective found themselves confronting a profound truth. They had just witnessed something that challenged every fundamental understanding of intelligent intervention. Humanity had not just survived. They had transformed a cosmic threat into an opportunity for understanding. Something extraordinary had happened, and it was just the beginning. The aftermath of the quantum storm intervention brought a silence more profound than any cosmic event in recent galactic history. Research vessels from across multiple civilizations converged, their sensors and analytical systems working overtime to comprehend what had just occurred. Dr. Zora Voss found herself at the center of a scientific symposium that was rewriting fundamental understanding of intelligent intervention. The human team, led by Captain Elena Rodriguez and Dr. Marcus Chen, seemed almost bemused by the intense scrutiny. "We just solved a problem," Dr. Chen said, when asked to explain the intricate quantum manipulation techniques. "Nothing more complicated than that." But it was everything more complicated than that. Comprehensive analysis revealed layers of scientific breakthrough that challenged every existing paradigm. The quantum storm intervention was not just a singular event, but a demonstration of a completely different approach to understanding cosmic phenomena. The Astral Harmony Collective's most advanced research teams began dissecting every moment of the intervention. What emerged was a method of problem-solving that went far beyond traditional scientific approaches. Vornak's linguistic and analytical teams discovered something even more fascinating. The human approach was not just about technological solution, but about a fundamental philosophy of engagement with environmental challenges. Communication logs revealed a collaborative process that defied traditional hierarchical scientific methods. Where most civilizations would have lengthy debates and committees, the human team seemed to communicate and adapt in near instantaneous collaboration. Dr. Elena Rodriguez explained their approach during one analysis session. "We don't see barriers," she said. "We see interesting problems waiting to be understood." The technological solutions used during the quantum storm intervention became a subject of intense study. Traditional scientific models suggested the computational requirements were impossible. Yet the humans had not only achieved them, but made the process look almost casual. Cellular adaptation studies revealed even more profound insights. The human team showed physiological responses to extreme stress that went beyond known biological limitations. Their neural systems seemed to operate with a flexibility that blurred the line between biological and technological adaptation. Survival is not about protection, Dr. Chen noted during one research session. It's about continuous adaptation. The symposium became a turning point. Representatives from multiple galactic civilizations found themselves confronting a fundamental question: what truly defined intelligent life? The humans had not just survived the quantum storm. They had transformed it into an opportunity for understanding. Vornak's comprehensive report highlighted something even more profound. The human approach was not about individual survival, but about collective problem-solving. Each team member seemed to operate as part of a complex, adaptive system that was greater than its individual components. Technological analysis revealed innovations that seemed to emerge from a completely different approach to scientific understanding. Where most civilizations developed specialized technologies for specific challenges, humans created adaptive systems that could transform themselves based on environmental requirements. Dr. Zora Voss found her entire scientific worldview being challenged. The humans were not just another spacefaring civilization. They represented a fundamentally different approach to existence itself. The quantum storm intervention became a pivotal moment in galactic history. It was more than a scientific breakthrough. It was a philosophical revolution. Computational models that had previously predicted total destruction were completely rewritten. The humans had not just saved multiple star systems. They had demonstrated a method of cosmic interaction that suggested intelligence was far more complex than previously understood. "We're just getting started," Captain Rodriguez said, with a smile that suggested they were discussing a minor academic exercise rather than a civilization-saving intervention. The research teams continued their analysis. Each new piece of data added another layer to an increasingly complex understanding of human capabilities. They were not just survivors. They were transformative agents of change. Something extraordinary had happened, and it was clear this was just the beginning of understanding a species that did not just adapt to challenges, but fundamentally reimagined them. The universe, it seemed, was about to get far more interesting. The Galactic Symposium convened in a massive orbital complex. Representatives from hundreds of civilizations gathered to understand the profound implications of the recent quantum storm intervention. Crystal-lined halls hummed with translation matrices, diplomatic protocols, and an underlying current of collective bewilderment. Dr. Zora Voss stood at the center of a holographic presentation that was rewriting everything known about cosmic intervention and intelligent life. Her research team had spent months analyzing every microsecond of the human response to the quantum storm. "This is not about technological superiority," she explained, her voice carrying through multiple linguistic translation layers. "This is about a fundamentally different approach to understanding and engaging with complex systems." Dr. Marcus Chen and Captain Elena Rodriguez sat quietly, looking more like casual observers than the architects of a paradigm-shifting intervention. Their calm stood in stark contrast to the intense scrutiny surrounding them. Vornak's comprehensive analysis revealed layers of complexity that went far beyond traditional scientific understanding. The human approach was not about conquering challenges, but about understanding and working with them. Diplomatic representatives from the crystalline concordance raised critical questions. How could a species from a single planetary system demonstrate capabilities that challenged fundamental understanding of cosmic interaction? The answer emerged not through technological specifications, but through a comprehensive exploration of human evolutionary history. Earth's geological records told a story of continuous challenge, multiple extinction-level events, dramatic climate shifts, constant environmental transformations. Where most species would have been eliminated, humans had evolved with an unprecedented capacity for adaptation. "Survival is not about resistance," Dr. Chen explained during one session. "It's about continuous transformation." Medical analyses revealed cellular adaptive mechanisms that defied previous understanding. Human biology was not just resilient, it was fundamentally dynamic. Their neural systems showed in plasticity that blurred lines between biological and technological adaptation. The quantum storm intervention became a case study in collaborative problem-solving. Where most civilizations developed hierarchical decision-making structures, humans demonstrated a fluid, adaptive approach that allowed for near-instantaneous collective response. Captain Rodriguez described their intervention process as just another day of problem-solving. The casualness of the statement belied the profound scientific breakthrough it represented. Technological assessments revealed innovations that emerged from a completely different philosophical approach. Human technologies were not designed for specific, static challenges. They were created with inherent adaptability, capable of transforming based on environmental requirements. The symposium began to recognize something profound. Humans were not just another spacefaring civilization. They represented a potential model for understanding intelligence itself. Cultural exchange programs began to be discussed, not as diplomatic formalities, but as genuine opportunities for mutual understanding. The humans' approach suggested that intelligence was less about predetermined capabilities and more about adaptive potential. Vornak's linguistic analyses revealed another layer of complexity. Human communication was not just about information exchange, but about creating shared understanding through creative problem-solving. Their language contained nuanced layers of collaborative thinking that most species would consider impossibly complex. Dr. Zora Voss found her entire scientific worldview transformed. The humans were demonstrating that intelligence was not a fixed state, but a continuous process of engagement and transformation. The quantum storm intervention was more than a singular event. It was a philosophical revolution that challenged fundamental understanding of what intelligent life could be. Computational models were completely rewritten. Predictive systems that had previously suggested total destruction now showed pathways of potential transformation. The humans had not just saved multiple star systems, they had demonstrated a method of cosmic interaction that suggested intelligence was far more fluid and dynamic than previously understood. "We're just getting started," Captain Rodriguez said, a statement that seemed to carry both humor and profound potential. As the symposium continued, representatives from multiple civilizations found themselves confronting a fundamental question. What were the true limits of intelligent adaptation? The human team seemed almost amused by the intense scrutiny. To them, the quantum storm intervention was not a miraculous event, but simply another interesting problem to be solved. Something extraordinary had happened, and it was becoming increasingly clear that humanity represented something more than just another spacefaring species. They were agents of continuous transformation, living demonstrations that intelligence was not about predetermined capabilities, but about the capacity to reimagine and adapt. The universe, it seemed, was about to become a much more interesting place. The Galactic Collaborative Assembly had never witnessed a moment quite like this. Representatives from hundreds of civilizations sat in a massive spherical chamber, watching as humanity was considered for full membership in the most prestigious interstellar network of advanced species. Dr. Zora Voss stood as the primary scientific witness, her comprehensive research becoming the cornerstone of humanity's evaluation. The quantum storm intervention had been more than a singular event. It had become a transformative moment in galactic understanding. "Intelligence is not a fixed state," she began her testimony. "It is a continuous process of adaptation, of reimagining possibilities." Her words carried a weight that transcended traditional diplomatic language. The assembled representatives understood they were witnessing something unprecedented. Captain Elena Rodriguez and Dr. Marcus Chen sat quietly, their presence both unassuming and profoundly significant. They represented not just a species, but an entirely new approach to cosmic existence. Vornak's linguistic algorithms had spent months analyzing human communication patterns. What emerged was not just a language, but a complex system of collaborative problem-solving that challenged fundamental understanding of intelligent communication. The evaluation process was unlike any previous membership consideration. Most species were assessed based on technological capabilities, diplomatic achievements, or resource contributions. Humanity was being evaluated for something far more profound: their approach to existence itself. Geological and biological records from Earth told a story of continuous transformation, a planet of constant challenges where survival was not guaranteed but continuously reimagined. Every extinction-level event had not destroyed humanity, but pushed them to new levels of adaptation. "We don't see obstacles," Dr. Chen explained during the preliminary discussions. "We see interesting problems waiting to be solved." The Collaborative Assembly reviewed comprehensive data that defied previous understanding. Humanity's approach to technology was not about creating fixed solutions, but developing adaptive systems that could transform based on emerging challenges. Medical analyses revealed cellular adaptive mechanisms that suggested humans were not just survivors, but living demonstrations of continuous transformation. Their neural systems showed a plasticity that blurred lines between biological potential and technological innovation. Representatives from the Crystalline Concordance presented their findings. The quantum storm intervention was not just a singular event, but a demonstration of a completely different approach to cosmic interaction. Communication technologies developed by humans suggested an approach that was fundamentally different from existing interstellar communication networks, where most species developed complex, rigid communication protocols. Humans created systems that were inherently flexible and adaptive. Dr. Zaravas's comprehensive report became a landmark document. It was less a scientific assessment and more a philosophical exploration of what intelligent life could be. The assembled representatives began to understand that humanity represented more than just another spacefaring species. They were potential agents of fundamental transformation in how intelligent life understood itself. Diplomatic discussions explored potential collaborative projects. The humans' approach suggested opportunities for solving challenges that had seemed impossible to previous galactic collaborative efforts. "We're just getting started," Captain Rodriguez said, a statement that carried both humor and profound potential. As the evaluation continued, it became clear that humanity's true value was not in their current technological capabilities, but in their approach to understanding and engaging with complex systems. Vornak's final linguistic assessment captured something profound. Human communication was not just about information exchange, but about creating shared understanding through creative problem-solving. The collaborative assembly was confronting a fundamental question. What were the true limits of intelligent adaptation? Technological assessments revealed innovations that emerged from a completely different philosophical approach. Human technologies were not designed for specific, static challenges. They were created with inherent adaptability, capable of transforming based on environmental requirements. As the final deliberations began, the assembled representatives understood they were making a decision that would reshape galactic understanding. Humanity was not just being considered for membership. They were being recognized as potential architects of a new approach to cosmic existence. The universe, it seemed, was about to become a much more interesting place. Something extraordinary was beginning.